The manhwa commenced with an adventurous party making their way into the dungeon. As one person supported an injured companion, he reassured, "You just need to hold on for a bit longer." However, the injured person collapsed, prompting another to exclaim, "How many people have collapsed at this point? The healers won't have enough mana at this rate. Won't we just die at this rate?" Undeterred, the injured person insisted, "It's fine, we have the Empire. Hero Burn is with us." Let's aim for 500 likes on this video. If you haven't subscribed already, consider subscribing. Burn reassured them, saying, "You guys must be still fine if I can hear your voice from here. Let's put in a bit more effort." Another party member echoed, "Yes, Hero." Burn revealed the challenges, stating, "My party members are starting to waver. When we first departed, we had 74 people in our subjugation party. But now, we only have 43 people left with me. We didn't lose 31 people, 43 people simply survived. We were just unable to protect our 31 allies, even though everyone gave it their all. Because this place is one of the 7 malevolent dungeons, the core of the ancient." His thoughts were interrupted as someone pointed towards a large dark room, saying, "Sir Burn, look over there." Burn thought. Finally they had arrived. This was the end of the dungeon, the end of the core of the ancient. They had reached the finish line of their adventure after making so many sacrifices. Countless unimaginable treasures were stored here. If they were lucky, this place could also hold the greatest fruits of humanity, the 36 virtuous masterpieces. Not to mention, this was also the resting place of the dungeon's master. As they heard rumblings surround them, Burn commanded, "Everyone, get into formation. Swordsmen and those with shields to the front, magicians create light. We need to prioritize our vision." As the rumbling suddenly came to a stop, the magician said, "I'll shine a bit more light. Everyone, keep your guard up." As the magician's magic illuminated the area, they saw a huge monster in front of them, its gaze fixed on the intruders. Seeing the monster open its mouth as if to devour them, Burn shouted, "Run away! This is impossible!" A little later, a skeleton named Patrick asked, "So, to summarize the situation, humans entered in droves while you were asleep, and since you fought them despite your tired condition, you did plenty. Am I getting this right?" The boss monster, named Swallow, replied, "Yup. I faced 2 enemies at the same time, both humans and my exhaustion." On that note, Patrick, could you please calm down? Patrick exclaimed, "Calm down? Do you think I'd be able to calm down in a situation like this? How could someone who's supposed to be the boss monster doze off until humans were right in front of him? How does it make any logical sense for you to carelessly yawn in front of them? This is a matter of mindset." Patrick turned to Renee and asked, "What do you think?" Renee replied, "But he overwhelmed humans with just a yawn." "I am shocked by your grandeur once more, Lord Swallow." Patrick, irritated by Renee's remark, retorted, "Yeah, let's just give up on everything. This dungeon is screwed." Swallow advised, "Don't be like that." As he explained, apparently, worrying too much is bad for one's bones. This place is known as one of the 7 malevolent dungeons that humanity has deemed impossible to raid, referred to as the core of the ancient. Most dungeon raids end with humans as the victors because the relationship between the humans, who can attack whenever they please, and the monsters, who must be prepared to defend whenever, is not equal. This repetitive warfare only weakens the dungeons. However, during a period when countless dungeons were raided and created, there were exceptions. There were dungeons that humanity could not raid, which was an obvious fact. These dungeons were known as the Malevolent Dungeons, specifically the 7 Malevolent Dungeons. Humanity temporarily placed these 7 dungeons on hold and deemed them impossible to clear. Among these notorious dungeons, the core of the ancient was the most diabolical. It had numerous monsters defending the dungeon, along with the dungeon's guardians protecting the 3 different paths. The left path, known as the Red Path, was defended by a homunculus known as Blade Maid named Renee. The central blue path was defended by a Death Knight named Patrick. As for the path to the right, which was infested with filth, accurate information about it was yet to be discovered. It was guarded by an unknown number of tentacles. And ruling over this impenetrable dungeon was an ancient monster, known as Swallow, which held a prominent place in the Empire's myths. Renee closed the book and said, "So it's written? After spreading books like this to the humans as you ordered, Lord Swallow, the number of intruders has definitely increased." Swallow replied, See, there's a know-how to maintaining dungeons too, you know? If we surround ourselves in mystery too much, humans won't even think about coming in. We need to give them a bit of information like this so that they start thinking, we know quite a bit about that dungeon, and things like that. They run in like moths to a flame, not knowing that more than half of the information in here is false. Still, even so, I never expected for them to come in droves like this. Was it 74 of them all combined? Renee confirmed, yes. However, the majority of their equipment was melted down by 116 black tentacles, so they're unusable. The ones that are still usable are all quite expensive. But if it was her, she would have been able to take care of them without damaging the goods. Swallow chuckled. Sure, and transform into a human. I'm sure that you would have been able to do it. Renee smiled. Meanwhile, Patrick stared at both of them from a distance and asked, Excuse me, we're gathered here for a meeting, aren't we? Did we just get together to play? So why are the two of you so excited? He started laughing and said, The mood here is so sweet that even being around you guys might give me a cavity. But I doubt it's just my teeth that would rot. I'd bet it would rot the rest of my skull too. Also, boss, if you're going to polymorph, why don't you do it properly? Did you even notice that you had 6 fingers when you patted Renee just now? Swallow acknowledged. You're right, he really do have 6. Patrick responded. Still, it's better than last time. You had more than 40 teeth then. When you smiled, I got chills all the way down my spine. Renee addressed Patrick. The sound of your jaw clacking is way too loud. Patrick thought to himself, I can't put up with this shit anymore. I should just quit being a fucking guardian. Renee then stated, Then we will get to the main points. She is sure that all of you already know, but humans have finally started going through the right path. The problem is that during that process, 116 black tentacles who defended the right path received huge injuries. It is in critical condition. However, her talk was interrupted as Swallow interjected. Well, don't worry so much. Tentacles regeneration is no joke. We can watch over it for a while and find another guardian if it doesn't look too good. Patrick said to Swallow, Boss, in that case, could you look for 2 guardians while you are at it? I want to quit too. Swallow asked, What are you talking about? You're my slave for life. Swallow continued. Regardless, humans will start taking only the right path now. Patrick voiced concern. They could be forming another subjugation party right now. Renee added, Humans these days use communication spells a lot to message each other, so the information about the right path being opened could have spread everywhere. Swallow agreed. Alright, then we should also create an appropriate counter-strategy. Listen carefully, we're going to be changing our assignments. Swallow instructed Renee. First, you have been guarding the red path up until now, right? I want you to take the infected path to the right now. The subjugation parties will swarm in there thinking that there's an opening, so I just need you to protect that. Renee said, I can defend against any number of humans, Lord Swallow. Swallow turned to Patrick and said, I want you to take care of the red path that Renee had been defending. Patrick asked, Me? Why? Swallow replied, When the humans realize that Renee is on the infected path, they will change their direction to the red path instead. You'll be there to defend that, Patrick. If we do this, we'll be able to defend against 2 attacks. Patrick exclaimed, Hold on, boss! What are you going to do if humans take the central blue path? Swallow sighed and said, We'll have no other choice. They'll just get a direct date with me. Patrick questioned, What kind of shitty plan is this? Renee chimed in, This is so perfect, Lord Swallow. It seems like the most pressing matter is taken care of. Now the only thing that's left is to handle what to do with that sword. Swallow asked, What sword? Patrick explained, She's referring to the sword that the leader of the subjugation party used. I can't believe he was using a sword like that. The humans that came this time were quite strong. Swallow asked again, Like I said, what sword? Patrick replied, I'm sure you've heard about it before too, boss. The 36 virtuous masterpieces. They are quite famous weapons among the humans. Some of them aren't really weapons though. Regardless, I think this was the 14th, and I think its name was Tanabella. Swallow recalled. I remember now. The 36 master chefs or whatever? I think we have a few more like them in the storage. Patrick mentioned. No masterpieces, just informed Swallow that Renee wields one of the 36 masterpieces. Swallow noted. The humans had formidable weapons this time. Patrick pondered. What to do with this? Giving it to a monster near the entrance is risky. Retrieving it from humans would be troublesome, right? Consequently, Patrick suggested, Swallow should handle this. Swallow, aware of Patrick's sword skills, suggested. Why not use it yourself? Patrick, surprised, asked. Really? Swallow confirmed. Yes. Patrick chuckled, conceding. Guess I have no choice then. Following Swallow's orders, I'll take care of it. In the core of the ancient, a domain with a formidable homunculus made, a death knight emitting deathly vibes, and a colossal ancient monster, Swallow quietly expressed. By giving Patrick the sword, I want him to discard that resignation letter hidden in his ribcage. Renee, a loyal sunflower solely focused on Swallow. Patrick, the dungeon's conscience and a boss grilling expert. Lord Swallow, an ancient monster embodying laziness. Renee asked Lord Swallow what they should do with the remaining profits. Lord Swallow replied that they should do what they usually do, using whatever they can and using anything that isn't useful as bait for the next adventurers. Renee assured Lord Swallow that she would take care of the distribution. Lord Swallow agreed. Renee then mentioned that the problem was that there weren't any monsters in particular who needed magic items. She suggested selling the mana stones instead, as it would bring in quite a bit of money. Lord Swallow questioned if that was the case and wondered if he should go to the human village. Both Patrick and Renee was surprised by his suggestion, and Swallow asked why. Patrick chimed in, suggesting that it would be better if Renee went instead, as Lord Swallow was clumsy at transforming into a human and his tail was showing. Lord Swallow agreed and told Renee to bring back lots of tasty things. The next day, Renee commented on the good weather and stated that she would be going. At the nearby town's Adventurers Guild building, a person informed Renee that they couldn't possibly buy the mana stones from her. Renee asked why not, and the person explained that the stones she brought were bigger than a B-rank mana stone, which would take an average commoner 10 years to save up for. The person mentioned that stones like hers could only be used by an Imperial Palace magician or a high-ranking magician at a magic tower. Renee thought about going to the capital, or a magic tower, but preferred not to go to a magic tower unless it was for Lord Swallow. Finally, Renee declared that she would be going. The person said, Take care, kiddo. As he realized one of the stones was left behind, he said, Hey kid, you left one behind. Renee said, That is a tip, thanks for the information, human. The person said, What a strange brat, you're a human as well, you know. As she arrived at the magic tower wing, one of the representatives of the tower said, So you're here to sell mana stones? In that case, it'd be better to consult with the guild master. I'll guide you to the office, please follow me. As Renee followed him, she thought, so it's structured so that the head of the tower resides at the top. The humans' magic towers are similar to dungeons. Her thoughts were interrupted as the person said, This way. As she entered the room, she was welcomed by the guild master saying, Thank you for coming all the way here. I'm Gromlitzhammer, the leader of this magic tower wing. And what is your name? Renee thought, this human has some quite impressive mana, and she said, I'm Rin. Gromlitzhammer said, I was going to ignore you since you're a kid, but the guard said you brought a bunch of mana stones with you. You're probably familiar with our magic tower wing's reputation, right? I trust you bought high-ranking mana stones suitable for our status. Renee said, See for yourself. Seeing the mana stones, Gromlitz was surprised and thought, These are A-rank mana stones? They're all of the highest quality, comparable to the highest-ranking A-rank mana stones. These aren't something a kid should have. This kid, who is she? And Gromlitz asked, Where did you find these? Gromlitz thought, Hang on, now that I think of it, that hair. There's a family with silver hair among the 8 great houses of the empire. Could it be that the daughter of that house ran away from home and secretly brought the stones here? I can't think of any other way for such a young girl to have mana stones like these. In any case, she's a noble lady and the world's a dark place. Gromlitz apologized for their rudeness and expressed surprise at the high quality of the mana stones. Their wing wished to purchase all of them, offering 50 ounces of gold for each stone and a special price of 80 ounces for the particularly good ones. Renee questioned the price, recalling what the guild representative had told her earlier about the difficulty of saving up enough gold for one stone. Renee calculated that an average commoner earns about 10 ounces of gold per year, so it would take 10 years to save up 100 ounces. Renee warned Gromlitz about the consequences of joking around. Gromits admitted that they couldn't afford to buy all the stones even if they used all of their wings' money. Renee suggested buying as many as they could. Later, Gromits revealed that they had 2,000 ounces of gold, which was everything they had. She asked if she could offer items of value in addition to the money in exchange for all the mana stones. Renee questioned the quality of the items and expressed the need for them to be easy to sell. Gromits assured Renee that she didn't have to worry about that and invited her to a forbidden storage area in their tower. Gromits showed Renee various items, including a tiara made of 4-carat diamonds with embedded mana stones, a living black pearl that makes crying sounds near poison, and a work of alchemy. Renee's expressions indicated her lack of interest. Gromits mentioning that alchemy can be seen as a dirty discipline. She then asked about a jewel called the Crimson Love Stone that supposedly makes one's love a reality. Renee was captivated by the idea of a jewel that could make love a reality. She turned to Gromits and inquired if it truly worked for anyone. Gromits, with utmost confidence, assured her that infusing mana into the jewel in front of someone she liked would activate the spirit within, resulting in eternal love between the two individuals. Gromits questioned if this particular jewel suited Renee's preferences. Renee insisted that it had to be this specific jewel. Gromits chuckled and admitted that while he wasn't certain about the other items, this jewel was particularly difficult to obtain due to its ability to steal even the heart of an emperor, making it priceless. Slightly flustered, Renee then presented another item, surprising Gromits. She questioned how a kid came to possess one of the 36 virtuous masterpieces. Renee exclaimed combine all the mana stones from earlier, along with this masterpiece, and demanded that Gromits hand over the jewel. As Renee leaves, a green-haired man with glasses urgently speaks to Gromits Amr, guild master of the magic tower. He's concerned about her decision to give away a heart gem, warning that sending Ren away with it could lead to her death. Gromits, examining a jewel through a monocle, dismisses his concerns. She's indifferent to the fate of the noble lady who traded for the item, her focus solely on the value of the jewel despite the green-haired man's concerns. She remains unconcerned and coldly predicts the demise of the unlucky girl and the person she likes, confident that the curse will leave no evidence behind. The scene then shifts to one of the 7 malevolent dungeons Renee hates, Castle, set against a red and black sky filled with ashes. The castle itself appears ominous with multiple pointed structures stacked together. Inside, a red woman equipped with scissors and a comb prepares to trim Renee's hair, remarking on the dying ends. She snips a piece off as Renee apologizes for her unannounced visit, expressing gratitude for the woman's help. The red-haired woman, Ursabet Bathory, boss of Chait Castle, warmly responds that neighbors should help each other. She enjoys seeing Renee and finds her presence delightful. Ursabet compliments Renee's beauty, making Renee shy and blush. Picking up a comb, Ursabet playfully envies the eternal youth of a homunculus as they look into the mirror. Ursabet holds Renee close, admiring her unaging beauty. Renee, in turn, compliments Ursabet's youthful appearance, noting her paler skin and gesturing toward the extensive beauty treatments and blood required to maintain her looks, evidenced by the backdrop filled with blood, skulls, and pots. Feeling bashful, Renee asks Ursabet for her opinion on her current appearance. Ursabet assures her that she's the most beautiful girl she's ever seen, ranking her as level A. This affirmation brings a smile to Renee's face, brightening her mood. Holding Renee's shoulder, Ursabet gently pokes her face and confidently assures her that no one could resist her charms in her current state, eliciting giggles from Renee. Ursabet curiously inquires about the reason behind Renee's meticulous grooming, playfully suggesting a love confession might be in order. Renee, reflecting quietly in the mirror and clutching a heart-shaped ruby, admits she plans to confess her feelings. Surprised and excited, Renee turns around, her smile revealing her eagerness to declare her love. Ursabet, taken aback by this revelation, initially thinks Renee is joking. Upon pressing for more details, she's shocked to learn that Renee intends to confess to Lord Swallow. Skeptical and somewhat bewildered, Ursabet can hardly believe Renee's serious demeanor. She wonders if Renee's nature as a homunculus might be influencing her peculiar sense of humor. Renee, firm in her resolve, assures Ursabet that her intentions are genuine. Ursabet, struggling to comprehend, asks what Renee finds appealing about Lord Swallow, picturing him as a repulsive nose-picking slob. However, In Renee's eyes, Lord Swallow is a majestic and powerful being. She fondly lists his strengths, and despite acknowledging his flaws like laziness, large build, gluttonous habits, and sloppiness, her affection remains unchanged. Meanwhile, Lord Swallow is seen sprawled on the floor, drooling and asleep, embodying the very traits Renee candidly admits to. Renee asserts that these shortcomings are inconsequential compared to her admiration for him. Ursabet, hearing all this, realizes with astonishment that Renee genuinely cherishes Lord Swallow despite his unappealing traits. Renee confirms her affection for Lord Swallow, and Elizabeth, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder, expresses hope for her success but also suggests that Renee deserves someone better. She playfully winks at Renee, offering her a comforting alternative should Lord Swallow reject her. Renee thanks Elizabeth, and clutching the red heart jewel to her chest, pledges to succeed in her confession. Meanwhile, at the Imperial Castle, Lee's eyes within the dungeon. Subjugation Coalition, a blonde-haired man reports the presumed annihilation of the hero Byrne and his Towel's subjugation party. This announcement causes a stir among those gathered around the table, with one member slamming their hand on the table expressing disbelief. Questions arise since the party had supposedly defeated the Guardian, and skepticism emerges as the bodies haven't been found yet. Despite some insisting that Sir Byrne couldn't have fallen to a monster, another member silently contemplates the reality, suggesting that within a day it would be clear if they were victorious or defeated. With 2 days past and no word from Byrne, he concludes that Byrne is likely dead, and his powerful weapon, one of the 36 virtuous masterpieces, is lost. The man smiles mischievously, pondering the whereabouts of Byrne's sword, Tambella. The blonde-haired man explains that their communication magic failed upon reaching the ancient heart's core, making it impossible to retrieve Tambella without returning to that area. The group considers their next move, debating whether to venture into the dungeon in search of the lost masterpiece. Discussion intensifies as another member advises against entering the dungeon, citing the failure of Byrne's team and the need to avoid further loss of life. Contrarily, another voice argues for persistence, speculating that if Byrne, heralded as a hero, engaged the boss monster, he must have inflicted significant damage. This person suggests mobilizing their main forces to take advantage of the dungeon's weakened state. An older man at the table, weighed down by the losses already incurred, including one of the Imperial family's prized heroes and a virtuous masterpiece, grapples with the gravity of the situation. He fears the repercussions of another failed mission, or the backlash of an action from the Imperial family. Consumed by doubt, he ponders the possibility that Byrne failed to harm the ancient boss monster, raising the grim prospect that the dungeon might be insurmountable. His concerns voiced aloud leave the group speechless until a new figure, a purple-haired, short-haired man accompanied by 2 cloaked bodyguards, confidently asserts that conquering the dungeon is feasible. This bold claim redirects all attention to him, and the older man standing up questions why the Imperial Magic Research Association, known as the Third Eye, is present. The purple-haired man cryptically hints at the authority they serve, implying involvement from the Imperial family. The old man internally curses the Imperial family's interference. The Third Eye's mere presence instills nervousness among the table members, as he insinuates that their actions have consequences, suggesting they might have to atone for their sins. The Third Eye, glaring with scorn and anger, berates the old man and his colleagues for their ineptitude, blaming them for the death of the revered hero Sir Byrne and the loss of one of the Emperor's valued virtuous masterpieces. The old men at the table, overwhelmed with fear, struggle to respond. The Third Eye, resting his hand on an old man's shoulder, chillingly suggests that their lives could be spared, but only if they agreed to his conditions. He leans in and declares that the Emperor demands another raid on the core of the ancients. The old man, skeptical and fearful, questions how they could succeed where Sir Byrne failed. The Third Eye interrupts, introducing Nifrim as the key to their success. This mention of Nifrim stirs whispers and disbelief among the group. One old man expresses doubt, recalling Nifrim as a hybrid with numerous problems. The Third Eye corrects him, asserting Nifrim's success and not a failure. He then challenges the group, asking why Sir Byrne and his team failed. The answer he reveals lies in a crucial element they lacked, something that Nifrim possesses. As a blonde-haired warrior with blue eyes observes the conversation, the Third Eye instructs the group to ensure the success of the upcoming raid. In a different scene, Lord Swallow sneezes, feeling an ominous premonition of an impending storm as dark energy emanates from him. He sneezes again, reverting to his original form. Worried about postponing his patrol duties and anticipating a reprimand from Patrick, he imagines the skeletal figure scolding him, and despite being just a skeleton, Patrick's presence instills fear in Lord Swallow. Dismissing his concerns, Lord Swallow, with some effort, rolls over and gets up, still half lying on the floor. He decides not to bother himself further and considers investigating the sewer pathway where the humans reportedly infiltrated. On his way to the sewers, he stumbles upon a scene of carnage, several damaged tentacles scattered across the floor, the core of the ancient guardian. The 16 tentacles now slimed together with dark energy, and slowly healing from their recent battle. Lord Swallow realizes there's not much he can do but wait for their natural recovery. Next, he visits the 5th room administered by Anthropo and lands amid a group of mysterious plants. Recalling their regenerative abilities as long as the core body and sufficient nutrients are present, he climbs atop one to inspect it, spotting the intact core body. He's relieved to know that they'll recover without his intervention as the core body retracts into hibernation for further healing. Lord Swallow decides to leave the area and contemplates the damage in rooms 1 to 4. Realizing this situation warrants a discussion with Patrick, he imagines Patrick's likely exasperated reaction to yet more problems. Anticipating another scolding and yawning, he decides to put off further considerations for later, reasoning that he's only inspected the sewer path and room 5 so far. Resigned to addressing these issues later, he decides to take a rest for the time being, prioritizing his immediate need for relaxation over the dungeon problems. Reassured by the satisfactory condition of the areas he has patrolled, Lord Swallow believes Patrick will understand his decision to end the patrol early. Confident that things are under control, he prepares to leave, unaware of a bright sparkling light hidden deep within the cave. Just as he turns to leave, a weapon propelled with great force whizzes past his face and embeds itself in the wall. Startled, Swallow immediately radiates a surge of demonic energy, ready to confront any threat. But then he hears a voice filled with animosity towards humans. A figure steps forward, revealed to be a young girl wielding multiple knives, her hair pulsating with power. Swallow, ready for a confrontation, turns to face her. Upon recognizing the girl as Renee, he relaxes and retracts his dark energy. Renee apologizes to Lord Swallow, who dismisses the apology, noting instead that she seems to have dressed up. Blushing and striking a cute pose, Renee is pleasantly surprised that Lord Swallow noticed her change in appearance. She asks him how she looks, and Lord Swallow, momentarily taken aback, compliments her, suggesting she's dressed for a special occasion. Internally, he fears she might be resigning, especially since she's not in her usual maid uniform. Renee, playing with her hair, confirms that it is indeed a special occasion and asks Lord Swallow if he can spare some time for her. Swallow, fearing the worst, agrees silently, praying she's not about to hand in her resignation. Renee then leads Swallow to a secret spot she has prepared in the lair, complete with a table and 2 chairs. She invites him to sit, promising to bring something for him. Swallow, still anxious about the nature of her request, apprehensively takes a seat, waiting to see what Renee has in store. Overwhelmed with apprehension, Lord Swallow silently pleads for Renee not to resign. As they approach the table she set in their secret spot, Renee serves him smutty tea. Lord Swallow's nerves are palpable, his mind racing with thoughts of her potential resignation. Renee shares that the location was once her private haven, but now it's a secret they both hold. Lord Swallow responds nervously, his anxiety evident as he sips his tea, bracing for what he fears might be her resignation. However, Renee shifts the conversation to reflect on the past. She mentions it's been 8 years since Lord Swallow took her in, a fact that momentarily distracts him from his worries. He fondly remembers their first meeting amidst the chaos of dungeon subjugations and Renee's rise in status. He inquires about her right eye, showing genuine concern and feeling relieved she hasn't mentioned resigning. Renee, touched by his remembrance of her injury, expresses her joy at having been able to protect him all these years. But then Lord Swallow catches on to her phrasing, was happy, and panics, interpreting it as a farewell. As Renee moves closer to him, his anxiety peaks, and he internally begs her not to resign. In this heightened state of worry, Renee softly confesses her feelings for him. The simplicity and sincerity of her confession catch Lord Swallow completely off guard, leaving him stunned and questioning her words. unable to process the unexpected turn of events. Renee reaffirms her feelings for Lord Swallow, revealing that she has harbored affection for him over the past 8 years. Swallow, overwhelmed by her declaration and the weight of their precarious existence on the edge of life and death, rises, his tail wagging nervously. He acknowledges her feelings but reminds her of the constant danger they face, hinting at the potential pain of loss and solitude that could follow from such a bond. Renee, visibly shaken by Swallow's response, admits she had feared this outcome but felt compelled to confess her feelings, unable to bear the burden of silence any longer. The thought of rejection terrifies her, driving her to a desperate act. She presents a heart-shaped gem that she got from the guild master of the magic tower as her solution to ensure Swallow's love. However, as she approaches him with the jewel, Swallow reacts with caution, asking her to calm down. As Renee explains the jewel's purpose, Swallow, recognizing the mana imbued in it, grows increasingly angry, suspecting malicious intent. Transforming into a shadow demonic figure, Swallow confronts Renee, accusing her of attempting to harm him. In fear, Renee drops the jewel, which shatters on the ground, releasing a terrifying curse. In the present, Patrick praises Lord Swallow, reaffirming his loyalty and admiration for him. Playfully teasing Swallow about his success in driving away the humans, Patrick highlights the respect and camaraderie that exists between them. However, Patrick, the skeleton warrior, expresses shock at Lord Swallow's uncharacteristic behavior, sarcastically questioning Swallow's conscience for driving Renee away and chastising him for biased actions. Patrick is astounded that even Renee, usually spared from Swallow's wrath, wasn't exempt this time. Lord Swallow, still in his demonic form, dismissively responds to Patrick's clanking teeth, seeking guidance on how to resolve the situation. Patrick points out that Swallow is responsible for the predicament. Examining the shattered pieces of the red ruby gem Renee brought, Patrick reflects that while not all the blame lies with Swallow, he did play a significant role in the current chaos. He smashes the gem in his skeletal hand, confronting Swallow about his part in the incident. Swallow, confused and anxious, denies remembering anything, leading Patrick to offer to help him recall the events. Flashback to the moment of Swallow's rage. Patrick intervenes to prevent Swallow from harming Renee. Swallow, engulfed in fury and about to attack, is grabbed by Patrick, who attempts to calm him down. Observing Swallow's chaotic half-human, half-monster form, Patrick realizes the severity of the situation. Turning to Renee, Patrick finds her in despair and confused about the consequences of her actions with the ruby. He urges her to leave, but she's too distraught to comprehend. Recognizing she's a hindrance in her current state, Patrick reluctantly decides to use force. Drawing his sword, he propels Renee away, inflicting significant damage and rendering her unconscious. This drastic measure reflects the urgency and danger of the situation, with Patrick acting to protect both Renee and Swallow from further harm. He manages to create some distance by launching Renee away, then turns to confront the frenzied and chaotic Lord Swallow. Swallow, overwhelmed by his demonic transformation and confused, questions if Patrick is also trying to kill him. Flashback reveals the intense, chaotic events that transpired, leading to Swallow's current state of remorse and confusion. In the present, as Patrick recounts the story, Swallow cringes at the memory. Patrick questions if Swallow truly doesn't remember the incident, to which Swallow, burying his face in his hands, admits his guilt and confusion. Patrick, understanding Swallow's reaction, acknowledges the difficulty of the situation. Glancing at the broken ruby that sparked the chaos, they discuss the necessity of finding Renee, with Patrick emphasizing her crucial role in the dungeon's operation. Renee's responsibilities are extensive, ranging from managing the diet of monsters and Swallow, handling financial records, to overall management. Patrick stresses that losing her would be a greater loss to the dungeon than Swallow himself. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Swallow acknowledges his inadequacy and the shock of hearing the extent of Renee's contribution. Patrick urges him to find Renee, advising him to humble himself, apologize, and persuade her to return. Swallow starts to revert from his polymorph state, accepting Patrick's advice. Patrick emphasizes the urgency and importance of the matter, even suggesting Swallow go as far as to kiss Renee's shoes to win her back. Swallow, understanding the seriousness, agrees to take action to rectify the situation and bring Renee back to the dungeon. As Swallow prepares to leave in search of Renee, Patrick hands him an item called Dura, a bracelet designed to stabilize mana. The bracelet, adorned with a green emerald, catches Swallow's attention. Patrick explains its significance, noting that it's an expensive item and may not be entirely effective on Swallow due to his strong mana reflux and unusual number of fingers. Patrick emphasizes that the Dura might help prevent severe fluctuations in Swallow's polymorph state. Intrigued by the level of preparation, Swallow half-jokingly questions whether Patrick foresaw the incident. He learns that Patrick found the Dura on the floor and is reminded to handle it carefully due to its fragility. Swallow dons the bracelet, promising Patrick to take care of it and to manage the dungeon in his absence. Patrick, however, clarifies that Swallow isn't merely going for a stroll but must return within 5 days. Anticipating the human return, Patrick stresses the importance of Swallow's timely return, as he alone might not be able to fend off intruders while Swallow is away. He assures Swallow that the dungeon can be secured for at least 5 days. Swallow acknowledges this time frame and magically dons a human-like cloak with a hood, intending to blend in with humans if necessary. Patrick advises Swallow to avoid drawing attention if he ventures near a human village, as it could be problematic if a dungeon monster is spotted there. Swallow jokingly suggests causing chaos if things would not go right, but Patrick, focused on the seriousness of the situation, urges him to stop trying to act cool and to focus on the task at hand, finding and returning with Renee within the 5-day window. Patrick reflects on the escalating complexity of their situation. The revelation that Renee had unwittingly acquired a manstone containing a curse, which nearly led to her death at the hands of a berserk Lord Swallow, weighs heavily on him. He notices a flyer announcing the auction of the 34th of the 36 virtuous masterpieces, the beheading Fang. Patrick worries about the potential consequences if Lord Swallow learns of this auction. He envisions a catastrophic scenario where Swallow, in a fit of rage, could unleash an apocalypse, devouring humans and causing widespread chaos. As Patrick processes these thoughts, he stumbles upon another critical piece of information. The Dungeon Subjugation Coalition's plan to raid the core of the Ancients has been accelerated. Initially advising Swallow to return within 5 days, confident he could ensure the dungeon's safety during that period, the new flyer indicates the raid is now scheduled to occur in just 3 days. This unexpected change in the raid's timing leaves Patrick alarmed, realizing the potential danger it poses, especially with Swallow out and unaware of the revised schedule. Meanwhile, Lord Swallow is found in a desolate state, lying in a crater, seemingly oblivious to the urgent developments unfolding around him. The scene underscores the gravity of their predicament, highlighting the potential for disaster if Swallow doesn't return in time to confront the impending human invasion of their dungeon. Reclining and gazing skyward, Swallow finds himself in a huge crater, lamenting his accidental teleportation for the second time. He recalls his skeleton knight's warning about the chaotic nature of his mana and advises against using magic. Observing the magic seeping from his hand, he ponders if it's the cause of his teleportation mishaps, yet decides to give it another try. Lazily placing his hand on the ground, Swallow focuses on the location where Renee went to sell mana stones, channeling an intense surge of dark mana. His body begins to levitate, surrounded by a dark aura, and he swiftly vanishes. In a dramatic shift, the scene introduces a regal demonic queen with purple hair, horns, and wings perched on her throne. She addresses a human warrior who has managed to reach her, promising them a magnificent demise. The human warrior boldly steps forward, challenging the queen's arrogance. Brandishing his sword, he declares that his group, the Season Dawn Tiger Mercenary Party, the 32nd rank subjugation party in the Empire. His fellow warriors, equipped with a crossbow and a staff, confront the queen, vowing to unseat her and spread their fame across the continent. The queen, unimpressed, dismisses them as trivial, foolish beings. Rising from her throne, she reveals her lineage as the 17th descendant of the Demon King, Asmodeus. Emitting an intense dark energy, her wings radiate a fearsome pinkish-green aura. She introduces herself as Malevolent and declares their doom for having the honor of hearing her name. The mercenary leader, smirking confidently, accepts her challenge, ready to confront the powerful demonic queen head-on in a momentous battle. The mercenary leader, filled with determination, confronts the demon queen head-on, boldly declaring, "Give them right back to you, Demon King." The queen, unfazed, deftly wields her staff, spinning it skillfully as she prepares for battle. She effortlessly deflects the incoming arrows, leaving the mercenaries astonished that she could block such a powerful assault. The group's mage urges the others to provide support, preparing to launch a fiery attack. The demon queen, disdainful of the humans, proclaims their insignificance and summons a wave of demonic flames, and she aimed a demonic flame at his party members, providing cover with long-range attacks from behind, hitting them, and then redirected it towards the mercenary leader. In response, the mercenary leader acts swiftly, stabbing his sword into the ground and raising a barrier of debris to shield himself from the flames at the last moment. Sensing the air growing colder, he turns to find ice shards. Looking up, he realizes the queen has already cast another spell, amassing a large cluster of ice above him ready to strike. Reacting quickly, the mercenary leader grabs a handful of rocks and hurls one at the queen to disrupt her balance. Seizing the moment, he leaps towards her to mount an offensive. The queen, however, counters by launching a bar of ice shards at him, but a protective barrier forms around mercenary leader, shielding him from the onslaught. The queen, surprised, wonders who activated the barrier, having believed the party's mage to be incapacitated. In a moment of realization, she discovers that the mage and archer, though gravely wounded, are still alive. The mage, using his last reserves of magic, conjured a barrier to protect. The demon queen mustered her magical strength and lunged towards the mercenary leader. The leader, equally determined, charged towards her. At that instant, the ceiling of the demon castle shattered, causing someone to plummet to the floor, sending both combatants flying backward. Dazed by the unexpected interference, the leader bled from his mouth, and the demon queen was equally astonished, suspecting an unknown presence had intervened. A fellow mercenary rushed to check on their leader, who reassured them of his well-being. Curiosity arose among the group about the identity of this mysterious new arrival, as they hadn't anticipated any other subjugation parties in the area. Meanwhile, the demon queen, regaining her composure, speculated about the potential increase in the subjugation party's strength. She pondered the implications of another powerful entity capable of breaching the demon king's castle, indicating the situation might be more dire than anticipated. Amidst the clearing smoke, a figure emerged. This unexpected arrival nonchalantly inquired about the location of Harston, revealing himself to be none other than Swallow, the main character who had unwittingly stumbled into the midst of the ongoing conflict, puzzling both the mercenaries and the demon queen. The demon queen and the mercenary leader simultaneously asked, "What the hell did he barge in here to say?" The mercenary leader conveyed, "Their appearance seems human enough, but you better stay away from that demon king." Swallow, hearing about the demon king, turned around and pondered to himself, "That demon is a demon king? The vibes. Totally different from the other demon kings I've run into." Meanwhile, the demon queen declared, "Send however many trifling humans you want. It'll never be enough to take down someone like me. Lowly scum. You will pay in spades for damaging my castle." One of the party members informed, "Leader, the support squad has arrived." The mercenary leader eagerly responded, "Great. Let's take down that demon king together." However, Swallow interjected, "No, hang on, you guys. First, tell me what I asked for." Ignoring him, they continued their fight with the demon queen. Swallow, sitting down for a moment, thought, "I'm seriously fed up. I have to find Renee quickly, and now it looks like this lot will be impossible to talk to any later than this, and Patrick will chew me out. Just thinking about it is a pain." The mercenary group approached Swallow, and one member stated, "Get a move on and help us." Another person said, "That guy's probably scared stiff." Swallow retorted, "Shut up," as he transformed into his demonic form, causing the mercenary group to attempt to run away, but he consumed them all. The demon queen became frightened when she saw what the person had just done. Curious about him, she inquired, "What exactly did you just do?" "It was truly astonishing and powerful. With what I just saw, you may even be more powerful than me, my lord." With a sparkle in her eye, she asked, "My esteemed self is now very interested in you. I want to know more about you. What is your true identity, my lord? What about your name? What's the secret to your strength?" Swallow, flustered by her persistent questioning, upon noticing Swallow, the demon queen also grew nervous. She said, "Pardon my manners. Allow me to introduce myself. I am a great, well-renowned demon king, the 17th descendant of Asmodeus, Mel's Agria, she then asked. Now then, what's your name? Swallow thought to himself. I hate all of this, but if it is for the sake of intel. He remembered what Patrick had warned him earlier, thinking, if I reveal my identity, wouldn't news of it spread everywhere? Patrick warned me not to let that happen. Besides, there's no need to reveal it now. Swallow then said, I'm Swaldo Rolnir. The Demon Queen, intrigued, asked, Swaldo Rolnir, can I call you Lord Swaldo? Swallow replied, if you want. The Demon Queen expressed her gratitude, saying, okay then, Lord Swaldo, first of all, heartfelt thanks for coming to my rescue, though it was rather overkill. Before she could continue, Swallow interrupted, saying, say less. The Demon Queen insisted, no, if it wasn't for your help, my lord, it's shameful to admit, but they may have landed a single attack on me. You did save me, but it's not like I needed saving. Since you helped me out, Lord Swaldo, I want to be of help too. Anything you want from me? Swallow exclaimed. Indeed, are you familiar with the route to Harston? The Demon Queen responded. Harston, you say? Swallow pondered. Good, she's aware. Opting to spare her instead of the humans was the right decision. Just a bit more patience, Renee. The Demon Queen inquired. So, what exactly is Harston? Swallow, surprised by her question, thought, Harston? Could it be she not only lacks directions but also doesn't grasp what Harston is? Did I unintentionally inquire with the one person unfamiliar with the concept? Swallow asked. All right then, where's the nearest human settlement from here? The Demon Queen replied. A human village? To my knowledge, Liège is the closest city. Swallow thought. Liège? The imperial capital Liège? Doesn't it take 2 months to travel from Harston to Liège in a human carriage? Swallow, rolling on the ground, exclaimed. Way off the mark. The Demon Queen questioned. What happened, Lord Swaldo? Overshot, you say? It seems you wish to travel a great distance. How about utilizing the teleportation hub? Swallow asked. What's a hub? The Demon Queen inquired. You're not aware? It's a human invention involving magic and alchemy. Supposedly, this device possesses technology that forcibly transports individuals through space. Swallow questioned. Where can this be found? The Demon Queen replied. The teleportation hub is located in Liège. If you enjoyed it, remember to show your support by liking and subscribing to the channel to stay tuned for future updates.